Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I see several familiar names and many new ones. Thank you for taking the time to learn about what we've been working on the past few months. My name is Edwin Schmier, and I'm co-founder and COO of Rotational Labs. We only have 30 minutes. We want to be respectful of your time, so we're going to dive into the demo in just a moment. We're also joined by our CEO and co-founder, Benjamin Bankford, who's joining us via chat. And of course, also joined by Ryan Lowe, who heads our applied AI solutions. Ryan, say a quick hello.
Hello.
I'm sure many of you have seen a variety of AI agent demos. Usually they are polished, impressive, and possibly a little bit hard to connect to the realities of your organization. And today we want to do something a little bit different. We want to be as practical as possible, and we want to show you Endeavor. Endeavor is our managed agent platform, and it is literally a product of the AI systems integration work that our team at Rotational Labs has been doing over the past 5 years. We have worked with a variety of organizations across industries, and in doing so, have recognized a pattern that regardless of the organization or the industry, there have been consistent and persistent failure modes and pain points. And in fact, we actually have a term for it. We call it the menu of pain. It sounds ominous, but it's a menu because it's a long list of potential issues that could derail or stall proofs of concept or use cases. Issues like token costs or data leakage or rate limits, unreliable outputs, hallucinations, and also difficulty moving from experimentation to actual production. So these are all issues related to reliability, accountability, consistency, things like that. And largely this is a function of the technology. LLMs are powerful algorithms. They're neural networks. They behave very differently from the software and the technology that we're used to. So we need new tools or frameworks to harness the potential of AI models. And Endeavor is our solution to that menu of pain. So you can kind of think of Endeavor as an organizational suite and an operational layer that helps you build a portfolio of purpose-built agents specific for your organization. And I do want to be clear, like we're not talking about coding agents today. We are focused on business operations, important workflows that you need done in your organization that can be automated, the kind of boring, repetitive drudge work that really doesn't give much value. And you'll see an example of that today. So we're going to show you how a team can take one of those workflows, break it into tasks, choose the right model, test the performance, review token spend, guardrails, and decide whether it's actually worth deploying. The last thing I'll mention is as we go through the demo, as Ryan goes through the demo, these are a list of questions that we think are really important that every leader, regardless of what tool or framework they're using, should be asking. Things like task success rate, time to value. Another very interesting is the task level economy. And Ryan will really dive into why task decomposition is really important to value with AI agents. So please keep these in mind, again, as you consider any tool and as you go through the demo. And I think it will really help you kind of answer some questions.
Awesome. Thanks, Edwin. Appreciate everybody taking the time to join us here today. Really, and happy to show you what we've been building here. And so I think that just to kind of key off of that we're talking about business operations, one of the first things that comes to mind, of course, is the governance, the AI responsibility, data responsibility. And so this system is the culmination of Rotational Labs has been in business for over 5 years. We've been successful in production with many different types of machine learning and AI engineering solutions. And so this is the combination of a lot of that experience. And so the first thing is the context. You need to have real data that the agents can use to understand the context to be able to provide reliable results. And then we also need to be able to track activity. We need to be able to trace, where if there's an issue, was it the data in the database? Was it the model? Was it the prompt? Was it the user? How do you keep track of that? If you need to have explainability of how you're getting model responses, all of this administration is global for the agents in the system. And so then, if you're using foundation models, so we're model agnostic, we can register models on-prem or various cloud, your own tenant, or like in our case, we like Open Router. And so if you're sending information that you need to like scrub out of the data being sent, we have ways that we can do that. And then also if you have like customer facing agents, that we need to ensure that there's content moderation so that there's no harmful information being sent to end users. And so this allows us to keep track of that and provide a responsible AI workspace settings, with regard to data jurisdiction. Again, we're cloud agnostic and model agnostic. And so, this is where we would connect up. Right now, we're just using Open Router, but this is not limited to that. And so, this is my own local instance that I'm running and that I've built. And so, my workflow that I wanted to help me with is we use Seamless AI, which is a lead gen tool, and then I have those exports, and then we use SendGrid to send out cold email, and then we look at for engagement, which goes into HubSpot CRM. And so I would say it's a fairly common business development kind of workflow. But it was taking me hours, when you get into spreadsheets with over 100,000 rows and you have all these exports and there's new leads coming every day. And so you have all of these data cleaning challenges. I really wanted to clean that all up. Instead of spending hours a week, I just wanted it to happen. And so I was able to build my agent. So like, for example, I was able to connect via the Seamless MCP server, and then also have this MCP toolbox, which essentially allows me to connect to tools. So I have a folder where I put my file in that the agent picks up, my export, and then the different tools like sending in SendGrid, importing to HubSpot, that I've prepared kind of like skills for the agent. And so when we go in, we'll go through, how the tasks and experiments and test cases are all built in a second. But what I want to do right now is just kick off this workflow while we go and take a look at our agent that we built to support you in rapid prototyping your agents. And our agent in Endeavor is called Compass. And so when I kick off this workflow, it's going to look for my export on my system here, and we can see the export. It found 225 entries and 61 with LinkedIn profiles. So no new work emails were found on this particular case, but we have 100 in the queue that are ready to be sent. And so this is going to go ahead and connect to SendGrid and start sending these. I'm doing batches of 100 right now, for example. And so while that's happening, let's go back and take a look at how we build an agent, or how we help rapid prototype an agent with just with some tacit knowledge. Like most organizations are usually a little bit behind in understanding their workflows and documenting their business processes. Maybe there's some tacit knowledge, or they're just a little out of date. And so we recognize that it's that the workflow decomposition into tasks that really create that kind of that blank page problem. And so what we've done is our agent, Compass, helps you build up and rapid prototype all the components that we need to start testing an agent. And so in this case, if you're just interviewing an end user or domain expert about their workflow, we can capture that information that way. In this case, I have a transcript prepared. It's just a simple workflow for RFP. So our director of proposal operations here, Sarah, I was asking her, like, how do you receive incoming requests for RFPs, and how do you manage that? And so she's just explaining, sales like shoves an 80-page PDF the day before the proposal's due, and just kind of like goes through explaining different parts of her workflow and her process. And like, it's not necessarily in order or anything. It's not really clean. It's just a tacit knowledge type interview. But we're able to save that discussion as context for creating a new agent. And what it's going to do is it's going to take this information and break it down into a couple of things. So first of all, we need to understand, what is the problem that we're solving here? Like, this agent is going to cost money in terms of tokens. And so we need to understand the value and how this agent is going to do real work for the organization. And so the business aligned objective, automate the arduous and error-prone RFP response process to increase efficiency, reduce manual effort, and improve the speed and quality of proposal generation. So, this might not be exactly corporate speak, so we can, edit these things as required. It tells us the users would be involved in working with this agent or have responsibility with the agent, and the KPIs. How do we know that this agent is being successful? And so once we save that, it is going to decompose that workflow into tasks. And so what's important here is that, we're not trying to create like a mega prompt with like a lot of data connections. We're really thinking about, how can these tasks be broken down in a way that's ideal for AI agents? Because we assign the model at the task level, and then we make the task as granular as possible in order to ensure trust and reliability. And so here we can see it's broken down, identify compliance clauses for the deal breakers, extract the technical questionnaire items, review and adapt the boilerplate answers. Each one has a system prompt that's going to be created and becomes the actual brain of the agent. But one thing to note here that kind of is different about this system is that Compass helps you build metrics that allow you to send the outputs from these tasks, the generations we call them, to the end user, to the domain experts, so that you kind of almost have like a pre-approved level. Like, once your evaluations, when these become a form that you send for feedback, and once you have a certain level of acceptance, then you know that this agent or this task, a part of this agent, is ready for production. And so this kind of helps management like approve the metrics and have confidence that the governance and everything is in place that allows you to enable your end users to rapid prototype and find those high friction tasks. Usually the tasks that nobody gets, it's not like part of their original job description, but get assigned because there's some copy paste between systems or between departments. And so we're really looking for those mundane tasks. And this helps identify those tasks and understand how they would work within the organization and how management would be able to approve them confidently, and then the users be able to have trust, so that the change management in adopting it in production is not as difficult as going in without this work in advance. And so then the last piece here, just in terms of the rapid prototype, is the test cases. And so test cases in this case are, in all cases really, is just kind of like, I call it synthetic data. It's basically just showing you, the kind of format that the task is expecting, that it's, from the prompts that it's going to create here. This is what it would expect. So when you're ready to test real production type data, you would just, put in your own test cases with real company information. But in this case, we'll just accept these generic test cases. There's 3 tests per task. And then that brings us to the most important piece, which is the actual agent itself, the tasks within the agent, the system prompt, the user prompt, what model are we going to use? Because you don't need all of your reports in Shakespeare in 100 different languages. You don't have to burn 1 trillion tokens every time. All you need is a model that's sufficient to handle the tools and the requirements of the task at hand. And then through the feedback and the metric mechanisms, you're able to test different models and find the one that's sufficient for trust in production. And so this has been created. Again, Compass is helping us build this all out so that we can get over that white page problem. And we'll just go ahead and save these experiments as is. And so now we can see here we've got our completed agent. So we've got our business aligned objective, our KPIs. we would assign an end user that's responsible for this information, or responsible for the agent in terms of the outputs and whatnot. And then we can look at it from an experiment perspective. And so here's our first experiment test cases. And then the evaluation. So first we'll go into our experiment, and we've got one ready in draft. So this was what Compass built for us. We can review it, make any changes to the system prompt. We'll preview one of the test cases. So here we can see the user prompt, identify and extract critical compliance clauses, and then we just have this go tag, it's called, which is how we pull in each test case. So there's 3 test cases here. We're going to run this, and it will provide us the generation. We'll take a look at that. But at the same time, I'm going to copy this, and let's not necessarily, we don't need Opus 4.6. Let's see what like a Gemini 3 Flash preview is going to give us. We'll run this experiment, and then we can go back to the original and see what we get for Opus 4.6. And if we needed any of our tools, we could connect them here, and we'll go ahead and run this. So as we go through, we complete our experiments, we can see, this one's ready for review. And so we've got some metrics that are default machine learning type metrics. It shows us the prompts that were used and the model that was used in this for all of these generations. So this is the 3 test cases. Each one has a generation, and we can go in, we can kind of look at the specific prompt, and then what the output is. And so now what we would do is, for this, we would say, here's our experiment. We want to invite other reviewers, the domain expert within the organization. So like Edwin, for example, if I invite him to review, then I can go in and start my review process. I would send this. And so we've got like no false positives, and submit this. And then we can go back to the experiment, and we can look at our other one and grab this, and we'll just do feedback here. And then now we can look at this from an evaluations perspective. So we've got the different metrics that we assign with these generations or test cases. And so now, we can look at, all the reviewers' responses would be here. We could look at the different ones. And then all reviewers, so like Edwin has come in, he's completed his feedback on the first one. And we can also compare. Once we're done comparing and selecting the experiment that's ready to be put into production, we can come back to our production system here. And if we take a look at the experiments, one of the we can do is, once we've identified an experiment that is received sufficient feedback to be ready for production, we can go ahead and promote this particular one to production. And so if we look back at our workflow that we kicked off at the beginning, we can see that it found a file in the inbox for this, which is just a folder in the system where I'm running this from. And in that, it found 380 or 238 new work email that are qualified for SendGrid, and then 455 that just have their LinkedIn profiles. And so right now I have it set to just send out emails in batches of 100 so we can see the email that's being sent. And then once that happens, we check SendGrid and see if there's been any engagement. So if there's opens and clicks, and then once we if we find anybody, we check to ensure that all the information is that we need for HubSpot is there. So basically lead enrichment, and this is where our seamless MCP server and API connections come into play from the tools, and is able to query that system and bring any necessary enrichment. In this case, we didn't need any, so went ahead and identified the contacts that had activity in terms of engagement. And we were able to use my BD or business development toolbox that's connected to HubSpot, as the tool to import these 12 contacts. And so now we've got a complete workflow where I used to spend hours, identifying leads, downloading those, parsing out the ones that have valid email, preparing them in SendGrid, sending those email, identifying which ones had engagement, and then importing that into HubSpot for follow-up. And so now all of that work is done by this agent that I've created to help me with my workflow. So what used to take me hours now just takes a few minutes of downloading the file into the proper folder. And so we can see here that this workflow cost me roughly 3 cents. And this is really interesting because originally, when I started doing this, I just went with the benchmark Claude Sonnet 4.6, and it was costing me almost 8 cents on average to complete this workflow. And so when I did all of my proper experiments, I was able to bring the cost down by more than 50% on average. And so you can see here I'm using like a free open source model for one of the steps. I'm using Flash for one of the steps. And so again, this is just a function of testing via the experiments and then having metrics that allow me to score the generations or the model output on that task. To gain confidence and trust that this is a sufficient model to be successful on this task. And so I trust this model to handle that task now. And so I've been able to use this as a extremely helpful agent in my personal work at Rotational Labs in reaching out to people about the software. And so, how one of the other things that I wanted to show you just quickly here is that part of this is all being tracked via trace and span. And so we can see here the activity that we've done, and we can track everything through so that if there's ever any question like, did this data come from a certain database, or which user, which prompt, all of that is being traced here in the background. And so if we look at just the workflow in terms of the tools that I'm calling for each of these steps. So first I have my Excel sheet, or my CSV rather. And so here we can see one of the emails from this sheet, for example, was picked up by my agent, and I'm using this Postgres database, which is part of my BD tools through the MCP server. I can read and write to these tables, to this table, the leads table, and then I can keep track of which batch was it imported from, has it been sent an email, and does it even have a valid email? Some of them don't. Some of them are LinkedIn only, and then we can follow that through into actually sending the email via SendGrid. And so this current lead hasn't engaged, but we can see here, for example, an email who does have engagement. And so if we look at this particular email was sent, and this person clicked, but even though it wasn't specifically the cold email that was sent from the original process, we're literally scanning all activity in SendGrid from all campaigns and picking up if somebody has activity, and then bringing them into a defined segment within HubSpot for further follow-up, and cut my time, the tedious work in managing spreadsheets around leads and exports in different systems, and just essentially automate all that for like a very economical cost per workflow here. And with that, please let us know if you have any questions, and I will hand this back over to Edwin. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. That was great. We only have 2 minutes left. I do really want to emphasize the workflow that Ryan was able to automate, or create an agent to automate. Again, like he took a 2 to 3 hour task that he had to do every single week, and he got it down to running in a matter of minutes, and it cost cents. And that's exactly what agents should be doing. We've tracked it along the way. I mentioned task level economy, task success rate. All those types of metrics are tracked to really prove the value of that particular agent. And workflows are just the beginning. There are many other things that we could be doing as well, but it's important for organizations to get started. And we think this is a great way to just start experimenting, prototyping. I mentioned another metric being time to value. So how quickly can you go from prototype to putting something in production? And we've condensed that to a matter of days, well, I would say weeks, in some cases, potentially days. For example, Ryan's agent that he built that is actually in production, we measured and took him roughly 16 hours. So 2 working days of him getting that into production. And the payback time is immediate and almost obvious. And it's something we have in production ourselves as a business. So lastly, again, thank you so much for joining us on this 30-minute demo. It was a little bit of a whirlwind, I understand, but we know time is valuable, and hopefully you've learned something. And if you are interested in working with us, please schedule a consultation. And if you have any questions, again, please follow up. We will be happy to do so. Everyone will be receiving a link to the recording. And it was great seeing you. Thank you again for joining us, and have a fantastic weekend.